From the beginning, man has possessed the attributes of the animal. Speed, power, dynamic movement, the instinct to exploit the weakness of his prey. And from his human inventiveness came weapons that could puncture and slash his enemy's flesh. In his struggle to survive, he developed tactics to heighten his advantage. Gradually, man created a knife culture, which has changed very little as it has cut its way through time. Still rooted in speed, still fluid in movement, still slashing and stabbing its enemies, the knife culture is still alive and deadly.
What's happening, man?
Nada ese.
Got the money, man?
Let me see the shit, man.
The shit's there, man. Where's the money?
5 minutes. 5 minutes, buddy.
No, man. No money, no shit.
Ah, man, 5 minutes.
Oh, fuck you, man.
The first step is to become aware that edged weapon attacks often occur in unlikely situations, often when you're distracted or not expecting them at all.
Police Department. Storney? Jim Storney? Storney, I got a warrant for you. I know you're in there. Come on to the door. Storney, open up. Ah! Where are you guys? What's going on? Oh, God, good guy.
The use of the unexpected is a favorite tactic of edged weapon offenders.
I told you 3 times to stop bothering the customers. This time you're going to jail.
Why don't you leave me alone, man? Why don't you back off?
No, this time you're going to jail.
You're too close.
Some survivors have found this out the hard way. Unlike the Hollywood depiction of the single telegraphed strike, most edged weapon attacks against police are much less predictable and involve subjects whose behavior may not be so obvious. You're safest to treat any call as having some potential for an edged weapon attack. But realize that certain situations tend to carry great risk. For example, in making a traffic stop, a lack of caution in contacting the driver may bring you within range of common cutting weapons.
Hi there. Say, do you have a driver's license? You just rolled through that stop sign back there.
And your partner may not even be in a position initially to help you or even see any threat.
He's here somewhere.
No problem. Something with your photo, name on it, that'll be fine.
Oh, God! Oh, God! God! Oh, God! Jesus Christ! What? Officer down here! Oh! He stuck me, man! God! He stuck me! Oh!
Keep them out. Nice and cool.
Moving in for an arrest, you're necessarily close.
Be nice. Okay, come on, stand up, okay? Come on, stand up.
Without good tactics, you make yourself vulnerable to an incredible array of edged weapons. And how often have you seen or used the wall search, which any suspect can defeat with practice?
Oh, yeah, little man.
Come on.
Sometimes poor tactics give an unarmed offender access to an officer's duty knife. Do your escort procedures make sure it stays secure?
Okay, let's go to the car. Hey! Come on.
Pinky.
One circumstance where you can anticipate edged weapons is the disturbance call. In fact, more officers are knifed during disturbance calls than in all other situations combined.
Police! Police department!
Do you watch all the people who may be at the scene?
You guys are making a lot of noise. What is the problem?
Do you stay aware of everything around you that could be a weapon?
Okay, I'll take care of this.
What do you
I
mean?
want
Who
to
is this
get out of
person?
this house. He's ripped me off for the
Why are you
last
calling the
time.
door?
He's
How do you
taken
mean?
everything I own. Right away, he
What
wants
does
beer out of the refrigerator. Yesterday, he took everything he got. Everything. I gave it to his friends. He hangs out with his street punks on the corner all the time. That's no...
Time is court in session still today.
Officers who fall victim to edged weapons usually commit at least one critical error, like misreading what could be a weapon or misjudging the subject.
Let's try it again. This time, why don't you leave the pens in the tray before you come through?
Sure.
Sometimes it's the unlikely individual who has the best chance of harming you. Tragically, it's been estimated that 1 out of every 4 edged weapon attacks could be prevented if updated intelligence information were known.
Squad 21 to the dispatcher.
Squad 21, go ahead.
10-7 with a violator. 41 southbound. It's a silver 78 Chevy 2-door. California plates. King, Ida, Lincoln, Mary, Edward. 1 white male occupant.
10-4, Squad 21.
In most situations, your threat assessment will have to begin by you identifying the suspect's potential for violence. Most civilians would never threaten you with an edged weapon. Even those who carry concealed knives generally do so to protect themselves against criminals.
Squad 21.
Squad 21, go ahead.
Squad 21, be advised there's a possible local open warrant for DWI on that subject. The flight list to a Ron Thomas of Los Angeles. The warrant is on that subject.
10-4.
But some will turn against you, if frightened or if provoked. Many civilians do live on the fringe of the knife culture. They're influenced by movies that glorify the blade, heroes who build confidence in fighting back against the bad guy.
Shut your engine off.
What the fuck do you want? I want to see your driver's license. What for? Christ, I'm only a block from home. Why don't you let me go?
Look,
Look, I just want to see your driver's license.
Oh, Christ. I got it here somewhere. It's in the car. I'll get it.
Most people have drawn inner boundaries they don't want crossed. And sometimes the blade is there to guard those boundaries.
Here's my license. Why don't you come and get it?
To be especially feared are EDPs who do have edged weapon skills through military experience or learned while incarcerated. There are over 25,000 EDPs inside jails and prisons. And they're more dangerous when they're let out than before incarceration. Because of a paranoid fear of intrusion, your very presence may be experienced as an overwhelming threat. To him, the weapons he covets may be powerful crutches, and he knows you want to remove them to diminish him.
Hey! My toilet don't work! Hey! My toilet don't work! My out there, come fix my toilet!
Hold on a minute, Terry. Let me take care of this guy over here.
Hey!
Quiet!
Sir, I need you to come out of your cell. We have to move you down about 2 doors down. You need to come out now. Sir, can you hear me? You okay? Sir, we can do this either the easy way or the hard way. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. Sir, I want you to come out, and I want to see your hands now.
Okay, man. Okay.
Don't fuck with me!
To overcome these suspect advantages, it is crucial that you read danger cues in behavior and body language.
Hey, you're blocking the alley. What's the problem?
Certain movements leave little doubt about intent. This represents imminent danger for sure. But many officers who become knife victims are so startled by a sudden charge that they freeze up. Sometimes you see an offender move to throw an edged weapon. The truth is, very few people can throw accurately, especially in the real world, where targets move. Also, a trained knife fighter will rarely throw away his weapon. Unless he has more that you can't see. A third type of behavior usually occurs as a defensive reaction by an offender. The taunting gesture.
Get away from here. Get out of my house. Drop the razor. Drop it.
What he's telling you is, don't invade my space or I'll attack you.
Show me your hands, now!
One of the most dangerous forms of concealment is palming. This hides the edged weapon while still positioning it for immediate use. If you can't see a suspect's palms or the straightened tips of all of his fingers and thumbs, that's a danger cue. The ice pick grip is hard to defend against and can even be delivered like this. Many targets are vulnerable to this technique. From the femoral artery in the groin to the arms, ribs, chest, the neck, and back. Most officers think that's good enough for edged weapons too. But this unrehearsed training exercise shows just how fast a knife offender can shrink your reactionary gap. Here, officers have been told to investigate suspicious circumstances at night in a warehouse and react to what they find. At first glance, this officer's distance from the suspect looks safe enough. But an attacker can easily cover this distance faster than most officers can draw their guns. Remember, when you close the distance between yourself and the suspect, do so only by purposeful decision. In fact, at close distances, your only realistic option for controlling a suspect is empty hand tactics. Yet when officers are asked how they would control a knife attacker, they usually say, "I'd shoot him," forgetting that they may not have time to in reality. Here, still unrehearsed, is what really happens when officers assume they can automatically use deadly force against a knifer. They stand their ground and try to draw. Or try to draw and disengage simultaneously. Or even worse, try to draw, fall down, and shoot. And they lose. Because time and distance work for the offender and against the officer. With a reactionary gap of about 1 foot or less, it's impossible for you to react quickly enough to even touch your holstered sidearm once the attack begins. At about 5 feet, the average officer can't even get his sidearm unholstered. Unless your sidearm or baton is already out, you'll have to rely on physical control at 5 feet or less. At about 10 feet, you might get your sidearm out, but you probably won't get a shot off. A suspect with a knife can close 7 paces and deliver deadly force in less than 1 1/2 seconds. For the average officer to deliver 2 rounds against an attacker who starts moving at 10 feet, the sidearm must already be drawn and ready to shoot. At about 15 feet, your chances get a little better if you're alert, anticipate danger, and are skilled with your equipment. But to deliver 2 rounds center of mass, your hand would already have to be on your sidearm when the attack begins. Tests with hundreds of officers reveal that in most cases, a minimum reactionary gap of 21 feet is required to react and deliver at least 2 rounds and to have enough time to move out of the attacker's path. And in certain other situations, you'll need more distance. Spring-loaded knives, like the ballistic knife, require a reactionary gap of about 40 feet. Blowguns have been known to be accurate at 70 feet.
What's the problem?
There is no problem here. Well, you can go. Nobody called.
Let me see your hands.
Hey, just go. There's nothing wrong here.
Let me see your hands and step from the porch.
With this, an offender can control at least 150 feet.
05 to dispatch.
The rule remains, distance is your best defense unless adequate cover is available. Once you see the attacker, create a reactionary gap by enforcing voice commands or by using the unexpected, or consider full-scale disengagement. If he's charging and you're on foot, sidestepping unexpectedly will force him to slow down. When you can control the reactionary gap, you create time by creating distance. Time to compute your force options, and time to communicate with the potential attacker.
Here's my license. Why don't you come get it?
Drop the knife.
Fuck you.
I said, drop the knife.
Oh, okay, just kidding. Sorry.
Now back away. Turn away from me.
When you can communicate, try to deliver your commands from behind cover and listen for cues to the suspect's psychology.
Officer, he's the one that stole the meat.
Hold it. Get away from the truck. What do you got under your coat?
Some meat, man.
Put the meat on the truck. Step away from the truck towards me. I'm gonna need some identification.
Here's your ID right here.
835, give me a backup man with a knife, blackmail. Tate's Food, 27 and National. Throw down the knife.
Hey, man, I ain't throwing this knife down. This is special to me, man.
Throw down the knife.
Nah, this knife cost me a bunch of money, man. 350 bucks. It's a Vietnam commemorative knife.
All right, then just place the knife down slowly. It won't get scratched. Slowly place the knife down.
All right, I'll do that. I'll mess up my knife.
Step away from the knife towards the auto. And turn around with your arms extended up. Bend over and extend them back. Stay like that and don't move.
Driver, exit your vehicle with your keys and step to the front of my
squad car. Do it now.
Sometimes you can use a barrier as a precaution when communicating, even though no edged weapon is visible. On a vehicle stop, where your assessment tells you not to approach, you can position the violator so your patrol car will hamper an attack.
Do you have a driver's license? Can I see it, please?
You can still see his vehicle and maintain good balance while he stretches across with the license.
No, I'm from out of town. I'm just here visiting.
Your partner can monitor the passenger side.
And don't touch me. I'm so sick of your shit.
Anytime an edged weapon is visible, take advantage of your immediate surroundings. Walls, pillars, or other obstacles that can strengthen your reactionary gap.
Lady, drop the knife.
I'm not dropping.
Drop it right now. I said to drop it. If you have a problem, we'll talk about it. I want you to move over that way. All right, put that knife down. If you have a problem, we will talk about it. Put the knife down now.
Squad 762 to 762W. Be advised, I'm in position across from Paul's Jeweler on the northwest corner.
762W10-4. I'm set up in the southeast corner.
When moving in for an arrest, be tactical in closing your reactionary gap. Remember that in half of all officer fatalities, the death weapon was concealed prior to assault.
Police officer, don't move!
A sharp offender is going to be watching and waiting for you to make a tactical error. Whatever your arrest technique, assume that any suspect could have weapons and try to use them at any time.
I want you to turn around real slowly. Start turning.
Set him up for handcuffing that's free of palmed weapons.
Keep going. Keep turning. Stop. Now put your left hand on the top of your head with the palm up. Put your right hand back. Bring it back. Thumb down. Keep it coming. Now I want you to start walking backwards towards me, real slowly.
Thorough searching after handcuffing is crucial. Develop a consistent pattern that you follow each time to assure that all areas accessible to the suspect are checked.
Stop.
Every time.
Don't move.
While you're handcuffing, keep his hands lifted away from his waist and maintain control of them while you search.
Nice and easy.
Remove any hat and visually inspect his hair without touching it.
Spread your legs a little bit.
Then start at the collar and move down. You want to touch lightly, then pinch and crimp clothing to best prevent being punctured or cut by sharp objects.
I got a knife.
If you do find something, acknowledge it to be sure your partner is aware that the danger level has just gone up. Remember, edged weapons can be hidden in seams as well as pockets. Pull down any jacket to help restrain his arms. Then recheck his upper body to search his inner clothing. Undo his belt to make searching his waistband easier, and check the belt and buckle for concealed weapons. Because some suspects may booby-trap their clothing with fish hooks or razor blades, look before you touch. And consider running a mini baton or pen over hard-to-see areas first. When checking a limb, be sure you search all surfaces and push up clothing when possible to see what may be strapped to the body.
You got another knife.
Before transport, consider the option of removing and searching suspect shoes, especially boots and socks. Wallets and purses can easily conceal edged weapons as well. If you find one weapon, keep searching. People who like edged weapons often like lots of them. This is a good point to remember when asking a subject for ID, as well as when you're searching. What's the most dangerous weapon? The one you don't see.
I got a blade here.
Come on, little piggy. Where we going, man?
As you escort the suspect, maintain physical control to defeat any hostile move.
In the car.
Okay,
As his resistance mounts, slip your hand behind his arm and bend his wrist.
Straighten up.
Hey, man, you got me. Big man, yeah.
Hook his shoulder near the neck with your other hand to pull him toward you, off balance, and exert enough pressure on his wrists to bring him up on his toes. This procedure will minimize his chances of disarming you and escaping.
Ain't going nowhere.
Sometimes the arrest process isn't so simple.
Hi, you called?
Yes, sir. I'm the manager. There's a woman getting raped in apartment 24 right now. This is a passkey. I don't want to get involved in it. There's a couple of doors on the right-hand side.
Room 24?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll check it out. We'll let you know what happens.
Thanks, sir.
Police! Hello, police!
Of course, you'll want to preclude or eliminate the possibility of using some lower level of force. You want to be certain of your target identification and try to achieve target isolation so no third parties are needlessly endangered.
Holy shit. Hello? Lady? Lady, are you okay?
Hail, Satan.
What's going on in here?
Shield me, Satan. Shield me from all the
Lady?
bad and the good. Hail, Satan. Hail, Satan.
Lady?
Be good.
Rick, she's got a knife. Drop the knife!
How many edged weapons do you see now?
Hey, can we get another drink? Bartender.
Do you want some ladies?
Money over here. How's it going? Hey, Pedro, how's it going?
Okay.
It's good to hear.
Well, hello, officers, and how are you?
All right, how about yourself?
Just fine.
Good, good.
Tuesday we go upstairs and party a little.
Not today, no,
Oh,
not
come on,
today.
let's have some fun.
No, we're working.
Cops!
Hey, hold that! Guns, guys! Drop the gun! Watch out, he's got a knife! Stop! I said stop! Leave the gun alone! Put your hands up where I can see him now! You okay?
I've been hit!
Squad 44.
Go ahead, Squad 44.
44, assist, officer down, shots fired. 625 South 6.
10-4, Squad 44. All units, assist officers, shots fired, 625 South 6th Street.
Squad 40. I got a knife.
If blood or fingerprints are not considerations, a knife in a sheath can be secured in your gun belt. A bare blade can be stuck between cartridge holders and your Sam Brown, leaving your hands free.
421 dispatch.
421.
421 ETA to the mental health center is approximately 1 minute.
10-4, 421.
421 dispatch, we're 1023 mental health center.
Although your gun is usually your best defense against an edged weapon, some circumstances may require other options. A baton is an alternative many officers have used successfully, but understand its limitations with edged weapons.
Ted, put the glass down, Ted. Ted, can you hear me? Ted, put the glass down, Ted. Just put it down. All we want to do is talk to you. Just put the glass down.
A baton works best when the attacker is not experienced with edged weapons, when the action is moving slowly, when you're not imminently threatened, and when you have enough backup, including at least one cover officer with gun ready.
Ted, put the glass down.
Get out of here.
Ted, put the glass down, Ted.
Take another step and you're dead. If I don't kill you, I'm gonna kill myself. Come on. Come on. You too. Come on. You too. Come on. Come on. You too. Come on. Get the restraints!
The baton is not a distractor. Use it to neutralize his delivery system.
Please.
Hit as hard as you can to cause a dysfunction of the extremity and force a release of the weapon. And quickly follow through with repeat strikes or physical control, or get back and get your gun out. When you can't create or maintain distance, or you have no other choice, you may have to know effective unarmed defense as a last resort. But be aware of extensive misinformation on this subject.
Hey, man, what are you doing here?
Standing around.
Well, why are you standing here and not on some street corner somewhere?
Free country, man. I can stand where I want.
Well, I don't like that. You can see what's in your hand over here. You got some ID or something, man?
I got something for
Well,
you.
let me see.
Sometimes trainers claim fist fighting works, but usually it doesn't, because it doesn't stabilize the weapon. Remember classic techniques like the X block? This just wastes time and gives him an easy target by keeping you in line with the motion of his weapon. Never use anything valuable as an obstacle. Most unarmed defenses require that you be standing up to be successful. In reality, you may be running, already down on the ground, or getting out of your patrol car. Unless your moves allow you to immediately control or defeat the blade from any position, you'll continue to be vulnerable to tactics like multiple strikes. A more effective technique when you're moving and behind the suspect is a rapid takedown without letting him stop and turn. Here, the officer grabs the suspect's wrist and elbow in an escort grip. Then the suspect is stunned against the ground with a forceful armbar.
Throw the knife away! Throw it out! Put your arms out to your side!
Even though the officer was not initially aware of the knife threat, good physical tactics kept him safe.
Let me see your hands. Knife! Drop the knife!
One tactical option for close-up self-defense is to forcefully sweep and shove the attacker's knife arm away to deflect his attack. Then quickly move forward to expand your reactionary gap. This is called sweep and disengage.
Sir, I'm stopping you for a speeding violation. I need to see your driver's license. Do you have one with you?
Drop! Knife! Sir, don't move. Put your hands. Don't move. Put your hands out to the side. Put them out to the side. Put your palms up. Don't move. Stay right there.
Empty hand control should be a last resort. Often you can avoid this completely by improving your approach tactics. Like ordering this offender away from his bike before you walk up. In some cases, two officers can apply the gun principle. One secures the offender's wrist and hand. The other delivers multiple blows to his forearm to create dysfunction. If you press your thumb into the mound on top of your forearm, you'll find a nerve center that causes weakness in your hand. That's ideally the spot you want to hit on the suspect.
Look at a live one.
Hello, lady.
Hi there.
Hello. Get some spare change if you get some spare time.
Is that it?
Spare change. What do you think this is, huh? Well, we don't take any spare change.
What's your name?
Well, let's see what you
Hey,
got.
pal.
Rod.
Hey, buddy. Buddy, what's the road here, huh? Why don't you hit the road?
Move down the street.
Hit the road.
Move down the street. Down the street. Move it. Move it.
Run.
I told you girls I didn't want you working my street.
And I told you to get the fuck out of here.
A variation of the gun principle is possible when you can stun the assailant's hand against a solid surface.
Oh.
Left hand behind your head.
Oh, okay, you hurt me, you asshole.
You're under arrest.
Oh, so are you.
Left hand behind your back.
At any time during an edged weapon assault, accept the fact that you may get cut. You will bleed and feel pain. But if you're prepared for this injury, you can surprise your enemy by not losing your cool when he expects you to do so. Remember that knife wounds don't produce the extreme hydrostatic shock of bullet wounds. Unless the edged weapon has pierced a vital organ, it's quite possible to remain functional. A lot of blood doesn't necessarily mean a lot of serious injury. Once the suspect has fled or is neutralized, visually inspect yourself. You may have wounds you don't feel. Control bleeding by using direct, constant pressure over the wound. Use your palm or other available object. This will help stop the flow of blood to permit clotting. Consciously, make your breathing slow, deep, and rhythmic. This will lessen your adrenaline rush, slow down your rate of bleeding, and delay the onset of shock.
6-3 dispatcher.
When a leg or arm is injured, raise the limb so gravity helps reduce blood pressure at the wound site. Maintain control over the suspect and keep direct pressure on your injury until help arrives.
Unit 653 to dispatcher.
With a chest wound, protect your airway. Tilt your head back slightly and keep your chin up to hyperextend your neck. This will keep your airway open if you lose consciousness. If a lung has been punctured, there's risk of it collapsing unless the wound is sealed. Tightly press your hand or a piece of airtight material directly over the wound. In this case, the officer removed plastic from inside his hat. A credit card can also work. You want to exhale, then cover the wound next to the skin if possible. Try to breathe normally and get help.
Oh, shit!
In this situation, the weapon itself may provide sufficient direct pressure to restrict the flow of blood. Don't remove it. Hold it in place.
You guys have any idea as to where the officers are at?
I don't know. This is the location they gave us.
Well, why don't you check with your dispatcher and make sure this is the correct address? And then why don't you continue in this way for me? I'll cross the street and check behind you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
When you do call for assistance, be specific about your exact location and injuries. Lying on a stomach wound lets the weight of your body apply pressure while your hands stay free to control the suspect and update communications.
20R. I'm up on the upper deck, East National, by the tracks.
10-4-20R. Ambulance has been sent. All units responding to 20R's location, be advised he is on the upper level near the commuter tracks.
Go for it. I'm gonna blow your brains out.
As you continue your deep breathing, commit yourself right now. I will survive.